Sia, and if you're new to my channel, it's okay because this is officially my first video. This video is very special to me because it's about a topic that has meant so much to me forever. Here is how I scored 98.4% in CBSE 12th boards and how you can do. A little bit of background and context. I was a pass out in the 2025 CBSE Class 12th batch, and as of now, I'm completing my Bachelor of Arts in Psychology Honours from Delhi University. Hopefully this video helps you, and if you like it, you can like, share and comment. To start with a little bit of pretext, some things that really worked out for me was the fact that my grade 12 started in early 2024. I like to call it luck because I had more than a year for my board exams at the time to come. One thing to remember is that 12th grade is the class that moves on the fastest, and you do not realize when, because there is so much on your plate. You've got college admissions, you've got board exams, you might have specialized entrance tests. For people applying abroad, there's a whole new set of problems which I did encounter too. If you learn to manage it early on and the right way, I think it can go really well in your favor. Internationally applied to about 7 colleges abroad, including King's College London, University of British Columbia, University of Melbourne, and a little bit of spoiler alert, I actually got into all the colleges that I applied to. My main goal, for India at least, was Delhi University since day one. I will though make a separate video talking about my experience for college applications, Indian and international, so if that's something you guys want to see, you guys should definitely comment down. For this video, I'm going to mainly focus on how I scored 98.4, and it's not too difficult if you put your heart to it since day one. So here it goes. Point number 1 is that I never actually had a perfect game plan. I never decided how I wanted to go about it. I did not have a roadmap, daily goals or weekly goals. I think that just really demotivates you to eventually end up fulfilling your goal. It makes you more lethargic, and it's just something that has never worked out for me, not in 12th, not before 12th, and hasn't worked ever since. I think with this strategy, the main thing is for you to be consistent, for you to know that there is an end goal that you are working towards, for you to know what all are you to accomplish while going for that end goal. For example, for my CBSE boards, I also had international admissions and Indian admissions. International admissions required me to have a very clean transcript all through 12th grade. So for me, there was this sort of obligation to score decently in these exams so colleges would actually consider me to come. So that was something I'd made very clear to myself because that was important to me. Similarly, for your cases, you may have obligations for tests, entrances, that is completely on you. You just need to be aware of what all you need to prioritize and prepare for during the course of your 12th grade. There were days I did not study at all. There were days I tried to study, wasn't able to study as much, and that is completely normal, my friends. I understand you will see people blabbering on the internet saying they study 10 hours for 10 days, they study 10 hours for bloody every day of the year. That is not humanly possible. You're either going to end up severely burning out, which will not help your case, or you'll just hate yourself. And that was something I couldn't have dealt with beyond a point. The ultimate goal, though, vaguely set for myself was that I wanted to try to finish my syllabus by maybe September or October, like the entirety of my syllabus. And it was not too difficult because I think summer holidays is the best time when you can sit, prepare and relax. It gives you plenty of time to sort of work towards studying, and trust me, it's a one-time investment into studies and it will ease out the entirety of your year within minutes. Also, one thing that I sooner or later realized that towards the end of my school life, maybe the last few months, my teachers were also okay with us not coming to school a few days in between, because what we figured out for us was that self-study worked out much better than anything we did at school, because eventually, the atmosphere sometimes just does not let you study enough, around so many people. I think there's some people who function better when they're studying themselves, when they're alone, and you do you, whatever suits you. Secondly, for me, what worked out was that I did not listen to anyone who told me that I don't need to dirty my books. And when I say dirty my books, I mean there's some people who have an ick when you use the pen in your book, or when you use a pencil in your book, or even highlight anything in your book. I think to each its own. I personally, for all my subjects, made extensive notes into my CBSE NCERT books itself. And it was so easy for me because the only thing I had to refer to was my NCERT. And you know, if you're on CBSE, that NCERT is Bible. And when you open NCERT and you have all the information in front of you, I think it is so much more helpful than opening 10 different notes on 10 different tabs, or maybe on 10 different notebooks if you're writing it somewhere. It's so much easier to open one book, see all the notes onto it, see all the underlines, and I think it also really helps you create some sort of visual memory of what you've written, where you've written it, because you've read it so many times by then. It really helps you connect the dots. The third and most important point is that you cannot have a generic strategy for all your subjects. My best recommendation to you is to create a different strategy for every subject. In my case, because I love pol science, I messed up my NCERT. I wrote so much. I wrote day, night. I read that book every single day. Pol science was the one subject I devoted my life to, which was great, and I also ended up scoring a 99, so that was good. With political science also, I connected it to present, I connected it to past. There was a lot of present information that was not mentioned in the NCERT, but when you write that in the examination hall, in the paper, the checker kind of feels that you've actually understood the subject, because you've not written dated information, you've written something that happened recently and it ties to what the question is asked. Do not give unnecessary information, do not do that. But where it's required, and if you can do it, and if you're sure that you can do it, please do it. History was not my favorite subject. Honestly, I got a 94 in history and I was not the biggest fan of it, because history just never felt like a subject that I really loved. I never wanted to do it ever again in my life. So nonetheless, my teacher for history was amazing and she really helped me out. So I cannot tell you a lot about history. I followed a similar strategy to political science. I made notes in my books and I read the book a lot, because there were 3 books. It was extensive, it was huge. So I managed it. I just managed history. Psychology, however, I scored 100 and I'm very proud of it. Because with psych, the situation was that CBSE unfortunately does not really understand psych when you write it in your own words, and I was very particularly told by my teachers to rectify the entire book, 7 chapters, all on my tips. So all I followed was reading that book day and night, understanding the concept, because eventually you need to apply it in situations in your sort of answers. So understanding as well as rectification of the exact language, which again I'm emphasizing, NCERT is your Bible. Psych, just write whatever the book has to say and understand it very well. My teachers in my school were amazing. They really helped me understand. Other than that, I think because of my own interest in the subject, I really read it thoroughly, understood it well, used examples, and search topic-wise YouTube videos, because unfortunately there's not a lot of good content on psychology for grade 11th and 12th on YouTube. English. Again, I scored 100 in English. My biggest achievement. So with English, my entire strategy was again watching videos, understanding word meanings. Most importantly, understanding word meanings, because that's where you mess up. If you don't know what something means, if you can't tell what something means, you cannot tell what synonyms and antonyms are for that word. Sometimes even referring to context does not help. So I would highly recommend knowing every word and every meaning inside your book. You can't not know something. And I don't think it's too hard, because most of the stories had a lot of morals. I think with grade 12th English in NCERT, there's not a lot of information to kind of jot down and rectify. I think it's more of a moral. I think it's something that you need to extract out of the story. It's not directly given, it's always very implicit. You need to infer, you need to understand from context. So knowing what the chapters have, you need to understand, you need to know what certain things mean. Some things were written very metaphorically, so you cannot miss out on that. Other than that, again, I refer to Humanities Adda. Aditya Tiwari sir, if I'm not wrong, was great help to me that time. he explained it in Hindi as well as English, so it really tied everything up together. Poems are very important. Do the poems really well, read the poems really well, understand what they mean. And most importantly for English, there's a lot of questions that they don't really teach you in school, or they haven't taught you at all till 10th grade, because it's always usually about summarizing the chapter or giving a character sketch. But unfortunately or fortunately, when you're in 12th grade, you need to go a few steps further than that. It may involve a particular situation, how it would have been handled differently, comparing two characters from two different chapters, comparing how X character could have acted in Y character situation from, again, two different chapters. I also had fashion studies as subject, which was kind of concerned, which, as much as it sounds easy, it's not very easy, considering the fact that it has a 60/40 theory to practical component. I was not a huge fan of creating bodices and skirts and yap. So I lost a mark in my practical. However, I ended up scoring full in theory, which compensated me for the mark that I lost in the practical. Just understanding, ratification, knowing everything in the book, because I don't think the book was too hard. I think the practical was harder than what the book consisted of. So I would highly recommend practicing the practical multiple times before you actually end up doing it, because sewing and stitching and embroidering is much more difficult than it looks like on paper. Very important thing that is not emphasized a lot, that may be controversial, is do not burn yourself out. I understand 12th grade is really difficult. You may think it's the end of the world. You may think you need to do your damn best. It's okay. I had Monday tests and I had 2 term exams and I had 2 pre-boards. So for me, it was hell a lot of times. But what I also chose to do is to decide very last moment that I did not want to study too much for pre-board 1, because I knew that if I gave pre-board 1, pre-board 2, Monday tests and my board exams very nicely with all mine, I would. I studied very well for pre-board 1, I would have burnt out by the time the boards came and probably wouldn't have scored as much as I did, which I have also noticed with a lot of people from my grade, from people I know, who actually made this mistake and ended up losing their focus when boards actually came. So I did not study way too much for pre-board 1. I scored pretty decent still, because I had a lot of background knowledge from when I did study actually. So I think I ended up doing a good 90-91% in pre-board 1. Pre-board 2 was much better, of course, because I did study. And boards, of course, my result is my result. Please convince your parents, please tell your teachers that this is important to you. If you burn out really easily, this is a life changer for you. Lastly, practicals are very important. Do not take them lightly, because losing a mark in practicals straight away means that you're getting a 99. Scoring in theory is, I think, easier, because you're writing a paper and theory checkers are usually, hopefully, lenient in comparison to practical checkers. Because practicals, you're being asked on the spot to give a viva. You can't make stuff up on the spot. If you're writing, you can still think of stuff. You have time to sort of recollect. During a viva, if you take more than 10 seconds to recollect, I think the external or the internal in few cases creates an image of what you are and who you are and how you are. Practicals essentially are free marks, and you cannot lose free marks. No. Do your MCQs really well. Political science and history have a lot of MCQ component. I believe pol science has 12 MCQs and history has 21, which is a lot of marks. And you simply cannot miss out on marks that are that easy, because they're either true or false. It's either correct or not correct. Create your own MCQs from the book. It's actually not as difficult as you think. My final thoughts as of now are that you do not need to panic. It's not very late. If you're in 11th, it's not late. Why are you panicking? Why are you watching this video? And if you're in 12th grade, you have a lot of time. You do not need to panic. This is not difficult. If you worked hard, you are going to get the fruit of what you worked for. And that is all that matters. Your hard work, your intentions, and your destiny. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one.